Гантимирантся, гнят нашла я. Чекшурм были там минат, наши головы не мага. Чи читание много питам. Спитме на путоле съм пакадам хам дат свободан тикам. Ван не хам шигуру шут падакам лам шигуру блишня вча. Ширук сгъждам сад на работата ми там досачвам. Стара събдуто парижнавски там пъшначата не девам. Чирата Кришна пада сад много тъжвишака ми тавча. Кришна кърно синду бинду пандучка. Купейши копика канта радката на мостите. Тапта канче на горанги, рабда виндаванешме. Души пан сте да ви принами харипре. Ван чака пътърю пърчаки паст купевча. Китит на поланега въжна вепил на мон на маха. So this is the part, Jai the Gayatri book. Jai is Holiness Sachinandana Swami. Jai His Divine Grace by Charanaravrinda Shiva Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is the part with questions and answers. And the part of the text with the from the text of questions and answers, Brahmana and Vaishnava. Question. With all due respect to your sincere attempt to spread Dharma, your ISKCON Brahmanas cannot really be considered real Brahmanas. You were not born Brahmanas but Westerners, and the materialistic influences of Western culture are still deep in your gens. I am a Brahmana from Hyderabad. My father was a Brahmana. His father was a Brahmana, but you are pretenders. Questioner becomes angry and begins to shout. Answer. Thank you for asking your question. Please calm down and don't be agitated. That is certainly not very Brahmanical. Sridhara Swami said. Now there is a citation verse. This is footnote number 23 to the chapter, where is written what is the reference. It is written here, quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 24:330 purport. So the verse Samadhibir eva Brahmana di Vyavaharo Mukhya Najati Atvidaditi aha Yashiti Natyadi Antyatra Paramtare Ktrisheta. Now I will try to sing it. It's not so good for this. I will try to sing this verse. Just a moment. Another attempt. translation this first. The most important criterion for deciding whether to deal with someone as Brahmana or as a member of another Varna is the presence or absence of self-control and similar qualities. Let me try to answer your question by first addressing your assumptions. You seem to be deciding someone's status based on birth, but this criterion is unsatisfactory. Imagine if we designated someone a lawyer simply because his father was a lawyer. The designated lawyer might disappoint us. Narada Muni, one of the 12 Mahajanas, stated that we should judge a person by his qualities rather than by his physical birth. There is another citation. It is shown what citation it is in note number 24 to this chapter, and this is Srimad Bhagavatam 7:11:35. So, Yasyaya Ashmananam Brahmata Sova Translation. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. The great Acharya Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura has stated that it is more glorious to be Dvija, twice born by initiation, than to simply be born in a Brahmana family, because a Dvija has obtained the qualification to enter the path of Krishna consciousness, which leads to the spiritual world. Now again, citation, note number 25 to the chapter, Brahma Samhita 27, purport. There are many great personalities in our Vaishnava tradition. Now this is the citation. The status of a twice born, that is obtained in accordance with one's worldly nature and lineage by the fettered souls in this mundane world, is far inferior to that the twice born who obtains admission into the transcendental world, because the initiation or acquisition of transcendental birth as a result of spiritual initiation is the highest of glories, in as much as the jiva is thereby enabled to attain to the transcendental realm. There are many great personalities in our Vaishnava tradition who have accepted this idea, even though they had the prestige of being born Brahmanas. Therefore, they begged for initiation from great Vaishnavas, even if they were not descendants of Brahmanas, but were born even in Shudra families. And the next time I will continue to read. There are again some questions and answers. There are again some questions and answers. But I will read the next part the next time. Jai the Gayatri, Jai His Holiness Sachinandana Swami, Jai His Divine Grace Abhai Chanmara Vrinda Shiva Bhakti Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai, Vedic Wisdom Tales. Jai, His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakura Prabhupada. Jai, Shri Prabhupada Prabhu Maharaj, who had translated this book for the first time in English with explanations. Jai Shri Narayana Maharaj, Jai Shri Gaura Govinda Maharaj, Jai Bhaktivedanta Nai Maharaj, Jai Bhagavata Maharaj. Jai His Divine Grace Abhaya Naravinda Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So, this is chapter 22 about Prahlada Maharaja. So, the last time I had begun to read this chapter and reached the part where the wife of Hiranyakashipu, Kayadu, was then released from Indra because they wanted actually to kill her child, because they didn't want another demon like Hiranyakashipu to be born. But Devashri Narada, he spoke to Indra, and Indra released Kayadu, the wife of Hiranyakashipu. I continue to read further. At that time, Hiranyakashipu was engaged in severe austerities in the valley of the Mandarchala mountain. Therefore, Devashri Narada told Kayadu to stay at his hermitage. When Kayadu took up residence at the hermitage, the best of Vaishnavas, Narada, he began to instruct the pregnant mother on the principal truth of Bhagavan with the aim of teaching the child in her womb. Prahlada, while still in the womb, began to hear transcendental discourses about the absolute truth, Tattva Katha, just like Shukadeva Goswami. Meanwhile, Hiranyakashipu, the demon king, underwent severe penance and finally obtained a boon from Lord Brahma that he could not be killed by any being created by Lord Brahma, whether human, animal, or non-animal, demigod or demon, or even by weaponry, in the day or night, indoors or outside, on land or in the sky. No one could confront him in battle. He would become the sovereign ruler of all beings, surpassing even the guardians of the worlds. His glory would be like Brahma's own glory. He would become the master of all mystic powers, like the ascetics and yogis. Hiranyakashipu, having received the boons, took Kayadu from Narada's hermitage and returned to his abode. It was there that Prahlada was born, and he grew day by day like the moon. Right from childhood, Prahlada would forego playing games for the sake of immersing himself in meditation on Bhagavan. By the grace of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, his heart was so captivated that he remained absorbed, unaware of the happenings of the external world. He experienced the touch of Bhagavan taking him in his lap and embracing him. He gave no attention to eating, drinking, walking, sitting, or conversing. Sometimes he would try loudly, sometimes feeling joy in the core of his heart, he would begin to laugh. Sometimes he would begin to sing loudly, and at times, impelled by eagerness, he would shout. Sometimes, disregarding worldly opinion, Prahlada would dance without inhibition. By the influence of the association of pure devotees of Bhagavan, he remained immersed in the joy of love, serving the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. Even those wretched souls who were fallen due to bad association, attained loyalty and love for Bhagavan in Prahlada's company. Now I will continue the next time to read further. Jai, Vedic Wisdom Tales. Jai, the book Vedic Wisdom Tales. Jai, Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, who is the author. Another author is Shri Prayojan Prabhu Maharaj. Jai Shri Prayojan, who had translated the book for the first time in English with explanations. Jai Shri Narayana Maharaj, Jai Shri Gaur Govinda Maharaj, Jai Bhaktivedanta Nei Maharaj, Jai Bhagavata Maharaj, Jai His Divine Grace, Bhaicharan Ravrinda Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, particular disciple of His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Sri Lalita Astakam from Srila Rupa Goswami. Translation. Translation of the Lalita Astakam. Her body is from Srila Goswami. Her body is engaged in wiping away glistening drops of perspiration from the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Madhava. In superlative Sohladarasa, she always remains independent. I offer pranama into the audacious Lolita Devi, who is a repository of beauty, sweetness, gravity, and various other charming qualities. Her beautiful face mocks the brilliance of the full moon. Her lovely eyes are ever restless, like those of a startled dog. She is renowned for her extraordinary expertise in the art of dressing Srimati Radhika. I offer pranama unto Lolita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. Her silk dress is as beautiful as the wonderfully multicolored feathers of an exotically dancing peacock. Her body is nicely adorned with various kinds of jeweled ornaments and bodies. Her golden complexion defeats the luster of Gorochana. Gorochana is written, a note is written here. Gorochana, a bright yellow pigment used for painting, dyeing, and tilaka. I offer pranama unto Lolita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. O Kalankini, unchaste one, Radhike, O Kalankini Radhike, Vrajendranandana is very cunning. So be firm in your contrariness. Don't give into gentle submission. Radhe, listen to those beneficial words. In this way, she gives instructions. Lalita Devi gives instructions to Srimati Radhika. I offer pranama unto Lalita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. Upon hearing Vrajendranandana speak even a few crafty words to Srimati Radhika, her eyes become red with fury, and she immediately shames him with sarcastic words such as, "You are so truthful, simply-hearted, and such a chaste lover." I offer pranama unto Lolita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. She is the resting place of the Vatsalya rasa of Goparaja, Nanda's queen, Sri Yashoda Devi. As the instructing guru of all the Sakis, she teaches them the art of friendship. She is the very life of Srimati Radhika and the younger brother of Baladeva, Shri Krishna. Alternately, Srimati Radhika and the younger brother of Baladeva are her very life. I offer pranama unto Lolita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. Upon seeing any young maiden anywhere in Vraja and discerning that she is inclined toward her Priyasaki, Prishapanu Nandini, Srimati Radhika, Lalita immediately fulfills all of that maiden's internal desires and makes her life successful. I offer pranama unto Lalita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. Her primary engagement is providing pleasure to Sri Sri Radha Govinda by arranging their meetings, which she considers to be the best of all festivals. She is the foremost among all Priyasakis of Gokula. I offer pranama unto Lalita Devi, who is a repository of charming qualities. One who, with a cheerful and pure heart, recites these 8 verses in praise of Lolita Devi, which are extremely beautiful due to their description of her charming qualities, is affectionately drawn to Srimati Radha, the brilliant wish-fulfilling creeper of the dynasty of Kirtita Devi's husband, Shivrishapanam Maharaj, and enters her own group of Sakis, who she counts among her very own. Vanchakapatarupacha, Kripasnakupevacha, Patitinam Pavanebhu Vaishnavebhu Namo Namaha.